Hey, what's going on? Ryan Nolting with Intersection Records, and we are talking favorite albums. In this case, we're talking albums that influenced me as a child, an album that my father would play, and I have crystal clear memories of being 8 years old and my father pulling this album out. And you didn't listen to one track. You listened to the whole thing because there wasn't anything else to listen to, unless you went on to the next record. This was an album, Elvis Aloha in Hawaii, via satellite. So this was broadcast around the world and in Asia. And I think the United States portion was delayed slightly, and the European, because the Super Bowl 7 was going on at the same time. I believe that was Dallas versus Baltimore, right? Dallas versus Baltimore. This is a beautiful album. And inside it shows the whole world, and it shows "We Love You, Elvis" in all the different languages. And of course you have this. And you got Elvis posing there. As you open it up, Elvis right there, 1972 or 1973. This came out on January 14th of 73. That's when it was broadcast live to the world. I was born exactly 3 weeks before this album came out, and I didn't even realize that until today. This album has always been something that I'll go to for many different reasons, and sometimes I can get emotional even talking about Elvis. This is just beautiful. Let's talk about his band. He has the Taking Care of Business band, the TCB band, with the great James Burton on guitar, who formerly was in Ricky Nelson's first band, Ron Tutt on drums, who played later with Jerry Garcia. All these guys played when Elvis came back from 69 touring. The 68 comeback special, of course, was his comeback special, but 69 he started touring. He toured a lot from 69. Now, before he went to the Army, he was touring up until then, and I think 57 or 58 is when he went. So he did not tour from like 58 to 69. 10 years doing movies, being controlled by Colonel Parker. Don't even get me started on that movie that they did. That was terrible. And I'm sorry if you liked that movie, but I thought it was... I didn't like that movie. Ron Tutt on drums. Ron Tutt, after Elvis died in 77, would go on to play with Neil Diamond for the rest of Neil Diamond's career. John Wilkinson on rhythm guitar. Jerry Sheff on bass, who would play bass on L.A. Woman by The Doors, because The Doors did not have a bass player. Ray Manzarek was the keyboard player, would do the bass with his feet. Glenn Hardin on keys. The guy that gives Elvis his scarves is a guy named Charlie Hodge. Charlie Hodge also does some backup vocals. And then the Sweet Sensations are a female backing group with what Elvis says, the little girl with a beautiful high voice, Kathy Westmoreland, who he would date on and off again later in his life. Let's get into this record. Again, this was kind of historic in the sense that it was broadcast around the world. Opens up with the theme to 2001 Space Odyssey, the da 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 da, and Elvis comes out to the drum beats of Ron Tutt, and it's just so cool. And then straight into C.C. Rider. C.C. Rider's just just killer. And the way that you could tell, what's cool about this record is obviously it's just audio, but you could tell by the way that people are screaming when he's doing his dance thing. And you could just hear the girls. Straight into Burning Love, just a hunk of Burning Love, a Dennis Lindy song, great song. Then slows things down with a George Harrison Battle Something. Again, Elvis didn't write, but he was an arranger, and he could take a song and make it his own. And along the same lines as Frank Sinatra. And both of them would get in the studio and control that session. Listen to the outtakes of Suspicious Minds in the studio and how Elvis stops them multiple times to get it right. Elvis was a musician. Let's not forget that with him. He wasn't a writer. He wasn't a composer that way, but he was an arranger and had a beautiful voice and could have been an opera singer in an alternate universe. Something goes into You Gave Me a Mountain. Marty Robbins song. Marty Robbins wrote El Paso. And you're thinking, part of the emotional thing for me is the mortality that Elvis seems to have here. When he sings a ballad, and we'll talk later, Lord, you gave me a mountain to carry around on my back. And I know he obviously had drug problems. Steamroller Blues. Think of him early in the 1970s doing a James Taylor cover. Interesting. That was actually a hit. On side 2 of the first album is My Way. I like Elvis's version of My Way better than Frank Sinatra's. They're both great, but Elvis is the man. Love Me, just as pretty of a love song as you can have. Then into my hometown great, Johnny Be Good, Chuck Berry. So he's kind of rattling off now some hits. It's Over, a Jimmy Rogers song. Straight into Blue Suede Shoes. Now, many might think that he wrote Blue Suede Shoes, but it's a Carl Perkins song. Carl Perkins. By the way, subscribe to my channel. Check out my video on the origins of country rock. We talk about Elvis. We talk about Carl Perkins and some of these guys. Then we're going to I'm So Lonesome I Can Cry. Again, we talk about Hank Williams on that show too. But he's making these songs his own. We got the Then I Can't Stop Loving You. Just a great song. Straight into Hound Dog, which is one of his big early hits, right? Side 3. So we're breaking out the second album. We're pulling this guy out. And we got What Now My Love. And then we have Fever. So Fever. Give Me Fever. So good. We are then going into Welcome to My World, which is just again, he's strolling on and the cadence in his voice, the control. We're in January of 73. He's been on the road a lot. I mean, a lot. Elvis did not just do a couple. He was kind of constantly on the road, coming off, taking 6 weeks off, going back out, coming back. He was on the road all the way till the end. He was working his ass off, and Colonel Parker. But let's talk about Colonel Parker. Colonel Parker did not take him to Europe and Asia. Many have said because he was unable to leave the country. And I do believe that's the case. That's why he did this by satellite. Elvis never did Europe or Asia. How much money and fame if he could have broke off and done an Asian tour or a Japanese tour. After Welcome to the World, we have just an incredible version of Suspicious Minds. One of my favorite songs. My band plays that, and the guys still want to do it. And I'm to the point now where it's like, guys, we need to leave this for the professionals, right? Incredible song to attempt to sing, and a great song to play. Then introductions by Elvis, and then the fourth side, I'll Remember You, medley into Long Tall Sally. Whole lot of shaking going on. And then a song that always got me, a Mickey Newberry song called The American Trilogy. It starts off, obviously Elvis is from Tupelo, Mississippi. I'll tell you a quick Elvis story. From Tupelo, Mississippi, I went to Ole Miss from 91 to 1995. Ole Miss is the University of Mississippi. So I spent 4 years plus down there learning how to play harmonica and I guess going to school too, learning how to sing and play piano. But I was in Tupelo with one of my buddies who lived there, and we bumped into his friend who was a nephew of Elvis, related to Elvis. And I looked at this kid in Walmart in Tupelo, Mississippi, and it was like looking at Elvis. It was bizarre. Elvis had a very unique facial features in this kid. It was interesting to see somebody that was related to Elvis. American Trilogy then goes into the Hush, Little Baby, Don't You Cry. You know your daddy's bound to die. And all my troubles will soon be over. And it goes into the beautiful flute and orchestra and then ramps up with the orchestra. You know, that to this day just breaks my heart and crushes me. This is the Elvis that I turn to when I want to listen to Elvis. That's how good this record is. And I know this video is getting long. American Trilogy into Hunk of Burnin' Love. A Hunk of Love. And then I Can't Help Falling in Love is the, wise men say only fools rush in. And these are just classics. This video's gotten long enough. I want to thank everybody that's subscribed lately and all the momentum that we have here. Again, we're going to do some albums that my father turned me on to. That's part of what we're doing here. And I'm going to do a video here very shortly about why I do this channel and who it's dedicated to. Peace out. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.